Hello and welcome to an India Today special, where our guest today is someone who is never far from the headlines and he's making the news once again. He's filed his nomination for Congress President, Congress three-time MP from Thiruvananthapuram, and also out with another book, this time on Dr. Ambedkar. Dr. Shashi Tharoor, welcome to this special.
Thank you, Rajdeep.
Let's start
Good to be
with
with you.
Shashi Tharoor as Congress President. At a time when no one really seemed to want to contest the poll, you from almost day one said, I want to contest this election for Congress President. Most believe it's a crown of thorns, whoever becomes president. What made you contest?
Because I really believe that the Congress party is needed by the country. And frankly, business as usual in the party is not going to take us anywhere. We've had two general elections at 19%. We need to break free. We need to appeal to a larger constituency than we've been able to appeal in the last couple of elections. And at the same time, we've got to stop this hemorrhage of good people leaving the party for good or bad reasons. We need to be able to therefore both revive and rebuild the party inside and at the same time appeal to more voters outside. We have to challenge the seeming hegemony of the BJP and Mr. Modi.
But many are saying that is Shashi Tharoor really the right person for Congress President? He has no organizational experience. He is not a Hindi heartland politician, the area where the Congress has suffered the most in recent times. Is Shashi Tharoor really the right person to be Congress President, a party that needs organizational revival?
First of all, the 9,100 voters of the Congress party, the PCC delegates, will decide that, whether I'm the right person or not. And if they find somebody else is the right person, more power to him or her. What I will say, however, is that given the fact that so many of our recent problems have stemmed from the way in which the organization is being run, I don't think that the disadvantage, so-called, of not being entrenched in the organization is such a disadvantage. In some ways, I come without the baggage of having any vested interests in the way in which we've been running the organization. And part of my message to my voters is going to be, let's change the way the organization is run. Let's decentralize authority in the party. And that's part of what I'm contesting for.
You know, when you say decentralize the authority, it almost seems that Shashi Tharoor is fatiguing of this high command culture of the Congress, because one of the other disadvantages apparently is you're a so-called member of the so-called G23.
So-called is right.
This rebel group against the Gandhi family or against the party high command culture. In a way, are you representing that rebellious group within the Congress?
First of all, the group is in your imagination of the media, frankly, Rajdeep, because the truth is that a number of senior colleagues wanted to write a letter and they reached out to people who happened to be available in Delhi during the COVID lockdown. And so 23 people were around. They said at the time they'd spoken to over 100 around the country, but because of the lockdown, people couldn't come here and sign it. So the sympathizers for these thoughts were much more widespread. So I don't think G23 as some sort of organizational entity makes any sense. It didn't exist. And some of its members have now left the party. Others have moved on. Some of one has even gone to the BJP. So it's no longer a coherent entity. And I'm not running as a representative of the G23 or anybody else. I am only running because a sufficiently broad number of party colleagues, and I mean ordinary colleagues, not the grandees in the party, urged me to do so. And they wanted me to do so not so much because of any specific experience that I would bring into the organization. As I say, my own instinct is actually to decentralize authority completely, empower the states, the state leaderships, and at the same time create more consultative mechanisms at headquarters. But apart from that, they wanted somebody who could appeal beyond the traditional constituencies of the Congress, and they felt I could do so. And I was taken in by that argument. I said, let me give this a...
the fact is, though, that your own Kerala Congress doesn't seem to be very enthusiastic about Shashi Tharoor contesting for Congress President. They haven't endorsed you. Let's be clear, your Kerala leadership hasn't. You are seen, whether this is an appropriate word to use or not, part of the Lutyens club in the Congress. The English-speaking, the last of the English-speaking elite within the Congress. It's one thing to write books, to have been with your international experience. It's another thing to run a party like the Congress, particularly at the time in which the Congress finds itself.
Ideally, we want the Congress to run itself. That is, we want people at all levels of the party to have a stake, to have authority, to have ownership of the party. It shouldn't be one person sitting in Delhi running. It shouldn't be a party that gets habituated to passing one-line resolutions, passing all decisions up the chain to the president. Let's try and empower people at all levels. What is the complaint that one keeps hearing at all levels of the party is people feeling disempowered. Let's change that. So as far as I'm concerned, that's the first concern. Secondly, frankly, if indeed many people don't wish to support me, that is their privilege. As long as we all share the same broad ideological commitment and vision, you're free to have individual likes and dislikes within that. At the end of the day, the electoral process will show the result, number one. Number two, I am intending to submit a nomination this morning with a large number of signatures collected from across the country. I am talking about party workers from Kashmir to Nagaland, from Punjab to Tamil Nadu, who have signed on asking me to be their nominee.
Even though your own home state, Kerala,
Oh, and Kerala too.
They've not endorsed your
No, but
your
there's no formal endorsement.
You're seen as an English speaker.
No,
I come back to it. Is that a disadvantage? The fact
Rajdeep,
that
I have
Shashi
won
Tharoor
3
doesn't
elections.
know Hindi well enough, is not from the Hindi heartland?
Listen, first of all, I've won 3 elections, which you can't win by speaking in English. I've gone out. Thiruvananthapuram, despite being the capital of Kerala, is 66% rural. There's no question about it. There are people there who are ordinary fisherfolk, ordinary hill dwellers, ordinary Adivasis as well. And I'm getting their votes. So I'm not doing this as a Lutyens liberal. I'm doing this as somebody who connects with people and who understands their needs and delivers whatever services I can to them. That's number one. Number two, on the Hindi heartland, that's a different issue. I agree with you that our country's political idiom is strongly turning towards Hindi, particularly under BJP rule. But let's not forget that it's entirely possible for somebody who's not from the Hindi heartland to also speak to and listen to, more importantly, the problems of people from the Hindi heartland. I do speak adequate Hindi. I've been giving sound bites every day outside the Lok Sabha. बस ठीक है, आप मुझे प्रश्न पूछ लीजिए, मैं आपको जवाब देता हूँ.
चलिए, मैं आपको कठिन प्रश्न हिंदी में पूछ लेता हूँ.
क्यों नहीं?
और कठिन प्रश्न ये है कि हाई कमांड जो है कांग्रेस में,
हाई कमांड तो अच्छी हिंदी नहीं है.
नहीं, वो गांधी फैमिली से जुड़ा हुआ है. क्या ये चुनाव आप एक तरह से हाई कमांड के खिलाफ लड़ रहे हैं? You said that you want.
किसी के खिलाफ
नहीं. You said you want decentralization in the party. Many are suggesting people like you are in a way questioning the way the Gandhis have run the party. Somewhere, are you accepting that or not? That you are questioning the way the Gandhis are running the party?
We're not against anybody. हम किसी के खिलाफ नहीं है, to go back to Hindi since that's what you wanted. लेकिन हम चाहते हैं कि जो हमारी सिचुएशन अभी जो है, इसको अगर आप बदलाव ले आने चाहते हैं तो आपको किसी नई तरीका आपको पता करना चाहिए. We have to find new ways of addressing old problems. And the truth is, frankly, business as usual is no longer possible. The truth is that is ultimately what many people claim has led us to our present plight. And therefore,
when you say business as usual, let me start. Are you saying the old way of dynastical politics? The Congress is identified today with the Gandhi family, with a certain dynastical style of running the party. Even Rahul Gandhi is questioned largely because he's seen to be an entitled dynast. Do you believe the time has come to break away from that? Is this a candidature endorsed by the Gandhi family, by Rahul Gandhi?
No candidate has been endorsed by the Gandhi family. They've taken a very, very constructive view that says that election is good for the party, that the more the party workers get a chance to express their views on this, the more the party will be strengthened, and that they themselves will stay neutral and above the fray. That's been communicated to me, that's been communicated to Digvijay Singh, and as far as I'm concerned, if there's a third candidate in the last day today, they're going to communicate the same thing to them as well. So, to my understanding, the Gandhi family says, no official candidate, we are not playing favorites, go out, good luck, we encourage you to contest. So, at the same time, it's important to stress, no one is running against anybody. This is not a question of a battle amongst rivals as we have between parties. It's a friendly contest amongst colleagues. We all share the same broad orientation. We are Congress people. We want the Congress ideology to prevail. We want Congress to win. And we want to stand up stoutly against the majoritarianism and the bigotry of the BJP. On all this, there is no disagreement. But we may have different views on how to do it. For example, I'm not somebody who's very entrenched in the way the organization has functioned so far. As you've rightly pointed out, I'm not seen as an organization man. Though I might say I created as the founder chairman the All India Professionals Congress, which showed that there is a different way of running things within the Congress family, which can be made to work. And I have a very different structure, which might actually be something the parent party could also learn from. So there are things that we can do. There's a number of things the Congress used to do, we've ceased to do. One of them is we had very strong state leaders, remember in Nehruji's time. People like B.C. Roy or Atulya Ghosh in Bengal, of Govind Vallabh Pant in UP. These people gave the Congress a very strong base of strong state leaders on whom the Congress's top pyramid was built. Today we've inverted the pyramid. All the power is on top, the state leaders don't matter. We need to change that. We need to create a situation, it seems to me, where the ordinary Karyakarta feels that he has access to whoever can take decisions that affect his daily life. And frankly, at the moment, many people feel they haven't got that opportunity, they're disempowered. So let's try and change all of this. This is not a criticism of what went before, because what went before worked for a while, and it has essentially ceased to work now. So let's try something different.
No, so what is the role of the Gandhi family? You know, that's the elephant in the room.
That-
The Bharat Jodo Yatra, which has just gone through your home state of Kerala, the focus entirely on Rahul Gandhi. All of you go to Sonia Gandhi's residence at 10 Janpad. Almost it seems to take approval from her before you file your nomination. So the sense is that this is a private limited company controlled by the Gandhis, and Shashi Tharoor or Digvijay Singh, the two candidates so far, will at best be there as Congress presidents, but accountable to the Gandhi family. Is that how I should see it or not?
Now look, the DNA of the party is inextricably linked to the DNA of the Gandhi-Nehru family. There's no doubt about that. And this dynasty talk, frankly, is really not very serious, because every party in our country, DMK, Shiv Sena, Samajwadi, you name your party, you'll find that there is a certain dynastic tradition there.
But that may not be necessarily healthy. The
No,
question
I'm
I'm
not saying
asking
it's
you,
healthy.
what will the relationship
I'm
be
just
between
saying-
the
I'm
Congress
just saying-
president and the family?
I'm just saying these ideas of dynasty work as long as they are of appeal to the voting public. If the Gandhis have had a great deal of authority in the Congress, it's because they win votes for the Congress. That people love them. And let's face it, even Rahul Gandhi, whom you're all busy criticizing, you should have seen the public adulation that met him at every step while he was walking in Bharat Jodo. We can't just completely close our eyes to this. There is a tremendous appeal still.
Sure.
Now, Rahul Gandhi has chosen not to translate that appeal into being president of the party. That's his privilege. But why would the party be foolish enough to say, we've got a proven vote winner amongst us who's got this great admiration? Why wouldn't we continue to welcome his involvement to the extent that he wishes to be involved?
No, so
the
what is
same
the-
with Sonia Gandhi, the same with Priyanka Gandhi.
No, so what is the relationship? A, they're not vote gatherers anymore. They were vote gatherers, the Gandhi family. You've lost 2 consecutive elections, big time, against the BJP, against a Modi-led juggernaut. My question again is this: relationship between Congress president and the Gandhi family.
I think it'll have to evolve in practice. They will have to choose their own role, how far they're going to be involved. The president, in turn, whoever the person is, will have to find creative ways of engaging them and using their undoubted charisma and appeal to the benefit of the Congress party and its message. Look, no Democrat came to power disavowing the Kennedys. No conservative replaced Churchill and started saying, I won't talk about Churchill. You should all want to hail the great leaders you've got, and I think we should do that, while at the same time looking beyond and doing what you can do.
Because I saw an interesting article written by P. Chidambaram, who said that the Congress president would be the organizational person, and you would have a Rahul Gandhi almost as the face, the mascot, the messenger. Can that really work, this dual power structure? I mean, you know, it's not worked in the past really in the Congress.
I think that remains to be seen, frankly. That's Mr. Chidambaram's view. I think ultimately what I'm talking about is a far more collective decision-making process, where what evolves will emerge as a consensus of, for example, the working committee, part of which will now be elected as the Constitution provides for, and as part of a process in which we open up the consultative spaces in the party. We want to see a party democratized from block level, district level, state level, and up to the national level. We don't want a party in which all people are doing is writing one-line resolutions and authorizing the president to decide.
It's interesting you said that, because that's exactly what's happened in Rajasthan. The reason why Ashok Gehlot reportedly dropped out is because he refused to accept, or his MLAs refused to accept, the diktat of Delhi, of the high command culture of saying, pass a one-line resolution authorizing the Congress president, in this case Sonia Gandhi, to decide what happens in Rajasthan next. And that created the friction, which has meant that Mr. Gehlot, in a sense, has had to apologize to 10 Janpat and move on. My question is, Shashi Tharoor, you seem to be living in an illusory world. The reality is very different. You're creating an idealistic world of decentralized Congress, of Congress democratized. The reality is this is a party where all roads lead to 10 Janpad.
Perhaps that would change. That depends very much, of course, on what the voters decide in this election. But if we have a party that functions differently, that need not be the case. Look, most parliamentary systems around the world, MLAs or the equivalent thereof in other countries, elect their leader. There's nothing terribly unusual about that. It's one way of dealing with factionalism. Instead of having two different factions or three factions running to Delhi and you have to choose one of them, you simply have put it to the test of the MLAs voting in a secret ballot and seeing whom they want to lead.
So is that what you would have done in the case like Rajasthan if the MLAs want a chief minister?
I don't think
Let's be very clear.
It's not right
should
for
that
me
be
to,
the way? Should that be the way forward if you were Congress president?
It's not right for me to comment on something that's already happened that I was not part of, because that, frankly.
But in general, do you believe
there may
MLAs
have been
should
assurances made, there may have been assurances given, there may have been promises exchanged which were not violated. I don't know what expectations were in that particular instance. But in future, in theory, I think we would encourage a situation in which the party candidates are chosen more democratically, and the party, once they've elected their MLAs, will have the right for the MLAs to choose who should lead them. That is the way in which most parliamentary systems other than ours have functioned so far.
You know, there will be those listening to you who will say that is Shashi Tharoor wanting too much too soon? Because in Indian, are you being overly ambitious building up brand Tharoor?
Look, Rajdeep,
in a party like the Congress, where it's usually by the time you're 70, you're finally taken seriously to contest for a big poll, unless you're a Gandhi.
Just 1 month ago, would you have expected to find us sitting here talking about a free and fair Congress party election for the president of the party? Honest truth is no.
Is it free and fair? Is it free and fair? There are those questioning the way electoral rolls are in a way manipulated at times.
Look,
during
you and I
elections.
are both cricket fans. If you've agreed to play a game, you'll have to bat on the pitch that's available.
So is it free and fair?
So I'm going to bat on the pitch, which means the electoral college that has been constituted. There's no point now wasting time debating how it's been constituted. There have been certain processes that have taken place which may or may not be to everyone's satisfaction. But for me now to start worrying about that rather than how to influence the people who are going to cast a vote is pointless. From my point of view is I turn to the voters and say, look, you're all congressmen and women. You want to see the party thrive. Do you think that I can lead you in that direction, or do you think somebody else can? That's all the choice that's required. To my mind right now, if they had been put there because of their loyalty to X, Y or Z is absolutely irrelevant. They're there, they work for the Congress, they will get the leader they deserve.
You know, in a way, the choice is between Shashi Tharoor and Digvijay Singh. And an old congressman was telling me this is between the old order and the new in a way. This is between someone who wants to be a disruptor, i.e. Dr. Tharu, versus Digvijay Singh, who's been much more a traditional congressman, two-time chief minister, general secretary, far more experienced than you. Do you therefore concede that he is the more experienced candidate, and some would say therefore perhaps the more likely candidate to win this election?
Look, I'm not going to concede anything in an
You're not
interview.
conceding this election?
Not at all. He's a very good friend of mine, by the way, and I of his. He was gracious enough to call on me yesterday as soon as he picked up his nomination papers.
Yeah, I saw the photograph of the two of you. You're calling yourselves not rivals, but friends and colleagues.
That's right, which we are. We are colleagues. In fact, we work together all the time. I'm part of his committee on the Bharat Jodo Yatra. We work together, and we will have to work together in future, whichever one of us.
Does he have the blessings of the Gandhi family, unlike Shashi Tharoor?
No. I think his line to me was, she told me exactly what she told you. And that's exactly where we stand, which is that the Congress president wants there to be a free and fair election, does not want to endorse anybody, and will not endorse somebody. That's obviously the only basis in which you can have a free and fair election.
You know, all of this is taking place at a time when the BJP is becoming a dominant party and the Congress is on the retreat. You've had two humiliating defeats in Lok Sabha elections. Do you believe that a new Congress president can transform your chances for 2024, or is 2024 a done deal for Mr. Modi?
Not at all. Of course he or she can transform the party. Let me point out right now that this very election, the media interest it's evoked, the public interest that is mounting and growing in the very fact that an Indian political party is doing something we used to reading about in foreign countries, but never seen an Indian political party do. This has stimulated a phenomenal amount of interest. I'm flooded with messages from strangers, non-political minded people, people who may not even have voted for us in the last election saying, wow, you guys are doing something amazing. This makes the Congress look so much more
The
attractive.
BJP says it's a fixed match. That all of this talk of election, of contests, of delegates, of a free and fair election, in the end, whoever becomes will be whoever 10 Janpad decides. You say they are neutral, but the reality is they will choose one side. That's why Ashok Gehlot was being pushed for a while to become the candidate, the chosen one. The one who has the resources. They want a candidate who has resources. Do you have the resources?
Well, look, why don't we talk about this after the 20th of October when the results are declared? To my mind, I'm expecting to contest in a free and fair election. I'm expecting there to be no sort of sub-rosa messaging saying that somebody else is favoured. And certainly if Digvijay Singh is the principal opponent, I think he's a gentleman, and I have great faith in the integrity of Mr. Mistry, the chief election officer, and the integrity of the process. Let's wait and see how it all goes.
What's the one advantage that Shashi Tharoor has over Digvijay Singh, according to you?
Well, look, I mean, you said it yourself that I do bring a breath of fresh air into the way in which we'd approach the party. I am not entrenched in the way the things are running right now, and I'm not, therefore, somebody with a vested interest in the status quo. I'm not suggesting he is, by the way. He's also a very original mind and a very decent human being. But he has been part of the system for a very long time. And for me, the fact that I have not been part of that system, except for the last 14 years, and that too principally as an MP, apart from heading the IPC, I would say that I have, to that degree, the capacity to look at things with a fresher eye. That's the big difference.
I'll ask you this one more time. Who will be the face of this new Congress, as you're calling it? Whoever becomes president, or is that a done deal for Rahul Gandhi? He will be your prime ministerial face or your face.
I think we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to see who has the greatest appeal with the public, and we'll have to see what the party wants. There's no question in my mind that if you're talking about democratizing the party and decentralizing it, a lot more people will have to be involved in deciding on questions like that than just one individual
So potentially a collective leadership.
I think so. I think one of our great slogans in the 2014 election, when Mr. Modi was going around thumping his chest and saying, me, 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 our slogan was, you may remember, main nahi hum. We are the party of the hums. We are going to stand for a party of collective, consultative and experienced leadership.
And I'm hearing of a possibility of an even shadow cabinet around whoever becomes Congress president. Is that possible?
Why not?
You know, you're doing all this while you've written another book. I don't know where you find the time to write this.
I don't sleep enough, Rajdeep.
You don't sleep enough. You've written a book this time on Ambedkar. And it's interesting because Dalit votes are among the votes that have left the Congress in recent times. Is Shashi Tharoor still sort of discovering in a way through his books why I'm a Hindu, now Ambedkar, in a way, areas where the Congress needs to... You've lost the Hindu vote,
I also have a book on Nehru.
You've lost the Dalit vote. You've also had a book on Nehru, but you know, this is a party that has lost the Dalit vote. Earlier lost, the belief is lost the Hindu vote. How does your writing fit in with your politics?
This lost the Hindu vote stuff, Rajdeep, is simply not accurate because you're talking about having lost to the BJP, which won 31 and then 37% in two successive elections. There are 80% Hindus in this country. So even if every single person who voted for the BJP was a Hindu, that's still not half the Hindu population. So let's not get carried away. We have not lost the Hindu vote. But we may have lost the vote of Hindutvavadi believers, and we may have also lost the vote of Hindus and others
and
who were attracted to other points in Mr. Modi's manifesto. In the case of 2014, it was the economic message. In the case of 2019, may have been Pulwama Balakot, national security. So different messages may have worked at different times. To my mind, the core issue still remains. What do we stand for? And why is it that our notion of an inclusive India is one that we have allowed to disappear? We need to get everyone back together and include them in the new narrative of the progress.
Because how do you really get that nationalist vote back again? You know, during Indira Gandhi's time, the Congress was seen to be the party that held the political center. There's a belief that under Rahul Gandhi, the Congress has veered far too much towards the left, and therefore the nationalistic spirit has completely been captured today by the BJP. How do you respond? Will you change that?
Savagely ironic, because we are the party of nationalism. We are the party descended from those who fought for the freedom of this country.
That was the party of Mahatma Gandhi, Jawaharlal Nehru, not the party today.
No, but the point is that we are heirs to that party. We should never disavow that legacy. We should absolutely stand up for Indian nationalism, but Indian nationalism and not Hindutva nationalism. what Mr. Modi's party talks about is a very narrow interpretation of our nationhood. I think we have to talk about the Indian nationalism that embraces all languages, all regions, all religions, all groups in one shared dream of a future progress. That's what India is all about.
Because I remember Sonia Gandhi at the India Today conclave in 2018 almost admitted that the Congress was being perceived as a pro-Muslim party.
We're a pro-everybody party. That's the difference between us. The BJP is only a pro-Hindu party, and that too a very narrow understanding of what Hinduism is. We are a pro-Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Adivasi, Dalit, anyone you name. Because from our point of view, everyone is Indian. We stand for the Ambedkar idea of the Constitution, which empowered the individual Indian citizen. Everyone with an Indian passport, everyone calling himself an Indian citizen has the same rights as everyone else.
Because one of the groups that you've lost are the group between 18 to 30, the young voter. And many of those young voters believe the Congress is a party of corruption, of dynasty, a party of the old India, not of the new India. And Mr. Modi has captured the zeitgeist of the new India.
In that case, we'll produce a newer India, an India that will actually take us beyond the limitations of Mr. Modi's vision into an India that, apart from being new in terms of technology, economic development, free enterprise, all of those wonderful things, is also going to be an India that includes and not excludes, an India where nobody feels unwelcome because of their religion, an India where everyone is free to be themselves. That's the India we want to create. We've got to go back to that.
What happens if you lose?
What happens if I lose?
Yes.
I continue to do my work as MP for Thiruvananthapuram. I still have a year and a bit to go, and my voters have placed their trust in me. I need to reward.
Because there was buzz that if you lose, you might drift towards the AAP or the Trinamool Congress or even quit politics. Is that true?
Listen, at this point, I would say the party that I am running to lead is the party that I've devoted my entire political career to. I've never been in any other party. It is true that other parties had approached me in the past, but as you can see, I'm still where I am.
That's a confession. Other
It's not a
parties have
confession.
approached you. Who?
They-
AAP?
I won't name any names. Many other parties have come to me saying, would you like to come and join us? And I said very politely, I'm in the party that I'm in. My voters and workers have elected me to represent them, and I'm going to continue representing them. I haven't gone anywhere. I'm here.
Okay, let me leave you with the last question, which is a lovely quote that you put. You're quoting Majru Sultanpuri, interestingly in Urdu. So you're moving from English, Tharurian English, to Hindi, to now Urdu, and you quote that famous, those lines of Majru Sultanpuri. मैं अकेला ही चला था, जनाबे मंजिल मगर लोग साथ आते गए और कारवां बनता गया. So you're hoping that you are the Pied Piper of the Congress, is it? People will join you in this movement.
I think when in a short while I go submit my nomination forms, you will see where the Karwan has come from. It's come from all corners of the country. It's included and embraced party workers of all sorts of backgrounds, religions, languages, regions. And at the same time, they've come with me, even though when I set out on this journey, many thought it was quixotic. They've all come with me and they've said, let's try and make a new story for the Congress party behind me. So I'm happy to lead them in that direction.
Well, Dr. Tharoor, you've had a long karma from being in the United Nations to Thiruvananthapuram MP to continually writing books, Sahitya Akademi Award winner among other things, to now trying to become the next Congress president. We wish you the best, as we wish all candidates who contest this post.
You sound like Sonia Gandhi. Thank you,
I
Rajdeep.
sound like Sonia Gandhi. That'll go viral. Thank you very much,
All the
Dr.
best.
Tharoor, for joining me. Shashi Tharoor, who intends and is contesting for Congress president.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.